stuff right here from the capital. It was Todd Bowley 0, Ketokreku 1. Because Kurt came through with seven new additions for Ghana's Black Stars. That, of course, is where the conversation begins today. Like I said, Benjamin Nketsia here. You can join us with your thoughts via text, WhatsApp, and Telegram. 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Show, of course, proudly brought to us by Access Bank and Bell Beverages. Charlie Bell have done it again. Hey, Charlie, the Bell Couple. Bell Couple. Oh, Charlie. He said with Bell Beverages, it's just one sensation after another. Say hello to Bell Couple, the latest addition of the Bell Beverage family, with an exciting blend of moringa and baobab extracts. Bell Couple is sure to keep energy levels up with no caffeine. Bell Couple is for everyone, kids, adults, and people sensitive to caffeine. Bell Couple, nature's energizing taste. That's what's going on. Well, the guys are in here, and your Koranteng is here. Susu Graham is in the building. Nathan isn't around. Fent isn't around as well. So we'll do a quick sub, and guess who is back in the building?
Oh, Charlie! Oh, Charlie!
We did our own Don't Call Me.
Oh, Charlie! Straight from London.
Charlie, the last... no, hold on.
International.
Like, the last time this guy was here, you know what you were saying? He was saying that Alexis Sanchez was a done deal to Manchester City. What was it grounded in? He said he was speaking with faith. Rahman Osman is back in the building. Say hi to the people, Rahman.
Hello.
Yes, sir. So one of the members of the original cast of Sports Panorama is back in the building. Good to have you here, Rahman. These days, where do you do your reporting and your shenanigans?
I work with London World in London.
Oh, Charlie!
Thank you very much, sir.
London World in London.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
International.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Let's get right into the mix. We'll be getting to the phone lines in a bit here. I'll be talking about Ghana's own Donkomi. Let me take initial thoughts on this from Daniel Koranteng. Daniel, just quick thoughts. Patrick Pfeiffer, Stefan Ambrosius, Mohamed Salisu. Just quick thoughts on what you've made of Kurt's big day.
Oh, I'm very happy. I'm happy because we all know that we needed quality. We needed quality. If you look at our run in the World Cup qualifiers, we used a core of players, and those core of players took us through the group stages, which we qualified on top. Then we went to face Nigeria in those playoffs. In fact, in between that, we went to the AFCON, and then we went to face Nigeria in those playoffs, which was perhaps the brightest moment in the last year for these Black Stars, because the opening side of the qualifiers wasn't the best. Our performances were not too impressive. Then we went to the AFCON. It was absolutely shambolic, the worst AFCON campaign in our history, finishing bottom of our group, failing to win a single game in a group that contained the likes of Comoros and Gabon. No disrespect, but come on, we are Ghana. And then you go and face Nigeria over 2 legs. You qualify, but still in the back of your head, you know that you still didn't win a game against Nigeria. And once you are drawn against the likes of Portugal and Uruguay and South Korea, you need quality. If there are players out there who are Ghanaian, who are of a certain level of quality that can go out into the world and match up to the best, then, and if there's a possibility you can get them, then why not? So if you look at the profile of players that the GFA have brought into the Black Stars or have managed to convince to make themselves available to the Black Stars, you look at Iñaki Williams, his experience in the La Liga. When you mention his name in the La Liga, almost everybody knows who he is. He's a household name in the Spanish La Liga, top level. He's been playing there for 6-7 seasons straight, has a record for most consecutive appearances in the La Liga. You look at Mohamed Salisu, whose stock is rising in the Premier League. Season by season, he's getting better and he's slowly becoming one of the best in the league. You look at interceptions last season, he topped it in the league. And you look at Tariq Lamptey, who's an absolute beast at right back. somebody that we all know, somebody we all have grown to respect his craft as a player. And you also juxtapose that on the needs that the Black Stars have. And we all know we have a serious problem in our forward areas. We don't score enough goals. We don't take enough shots. You look at 6 goals in the last 6 games, or 6 goals in 6 games under Otuado. That is a goal every game, meaning that, just to simplify it, if the Black Stars is not keeping a clean sheet, they are not winning a game, if you look at the averages, which is very alarming. So if you have somebody of the caliber of Iñaki Williams coming into the team, you are sure that he can help in that department. You look at our defense also and how the head coach wants to play. And you've seen him experiment a 3-back system quite a number of times since he took over. And he can tell you that he's sort of leaning towards that system. And in that system, he's tried Gideon Mensah as a left-sided centre-back. We heard Gideon Mensah himself talk about the importance of having a left-footed player play in that particular position, and why he was experimented in that role and sort of convinced, the manager had to convince him and let him know that it was very important to have somebody with a left foot in that position. He understood it and he did the job over there. But the fact is, he's not a natural. And if you have a natural in Mohamed Salisu, I've mentioned his stock is rising, the sort of pedigree he's coming with. And you compare that to what we have.
Talking about Salisu, right? Yeah. There's a debate I want us to do on the show today. And I want listeners and texters to chip in on this for us. There's a divided front on Twitter, some, or even social media generally. Some say that Salisu is an upgrade on every centre-back we have in the team currently. There are some people who don't believe that Salisu is an upgrade on Amate or even a Jiku. I want to know where you stand on this, and I want listeners to actually weigh in on this for me. Where do you stand on this particular issue? Personally,
I feel the 3 of them have very different attributes. And if you are taking it attribute by attribute, some will be better than the other. You can overall, I think it will be very difficult to say he's an upgrade on every single one of them, because I always say that I like to separate club football from national team football. We've not seen Salisu in a national team jersey, so we can't necessarily judge him based on his Black Stars performance. If you are talking about what the other 2 have done for the Black Stars, especially as a partnership, I think it's quite impressive what Amate and Jiku have done. And in centre backs, I think modern days it's more about partnerships. It's not necessarily your individual ability, because if you are good individually and you are not able to gel, it will go against the team. So I think if you are looking at it more of an individual point of view on a club level, I think based on last season, yes, in the Premier League, you rate Salisu ahead of Amate in the Premier League last season. For me, I think overall, if you're looking at their individual seasons overall, I think I'll put Jiku at the top, then Salisu, and then Amate, just based on last season. But I don't think it's fair to pit Salisu against Jiku and Amate in the national team, because he's not seen Salisu in the national team. So for me, as it stands, because he's not yet played for the Black Stars, I'll stick with the 2 who are already there.
Well, guess who's on the phone lines these days? I don't know if the Ashanti region is his new home, but joining us from Otumfuo's land is the Rabbi.
Oh,
the Rabbi. Rabbi, can you hear me?
Oh no, you was about no, I don't work in there. I can't tell Rama no about travel no back him I go about. Oh, I should not go down.
Oh, show Sunny. Show Sunny. Mimi.
Charlie, you're welcome, my brother. You're welcome.
Where are you?
Charlie, I'm in Kumasi to support a colleague who is getting married, God willing, tomorrow. Miss Akosia Safo, my colleague at work. She's getting married, God willing, tomorrow, so I'm here to support her.
Oh, please give her, present the gift on our behalf. You know the gift.
On coming, I have acquired 30 Ghana cedis worth of Goro Michi, 30 Ghana cedis of Goro Tula, and I've done the concoction for her husband. So I'm just
easy.
Benjamin Nketsia, who will be marrying my colleague tomorrow. But I say when I come, the Mich Goro and the Goro Tula will be in a transparent sack that everybody in the church will see that this is my presence to the couple. It will facilitate good coaching and everything will be going well.
Thank you very much, my brother. Let's get into the crux of the matter. So this week, Ketokreku, your good friend, announced his own Don't Go Meet list. Additions to the Black Star setup, Patrick Pfeiffer plays for Darmstadt in the Bundesliga. He's a centre back, 6'5" centre back. There's Stefan Ambrosius, who plays for HSV. He's also a centre back as well. Ransford Yeboah also plays for HSV. He's a striker and a winger. And then you have Tariq Lamptey, our own Tariq Lamptey. I know how much you've wanted him in the Black Stars fold for a while. There's Mohamed Salisu, and then there's also Inaki Williams. I don't know if you want to take it player by player, but when you first heard this announcement, were you happy? Were you indifferent? What was your reaction, first of all, to it?
I was so happy. Oh, my goodness. For once, you know my stand on the Black Stars. I've always spoken about the fact that there has to be competition in our team. For a team to get to the next level, in my view, is the standard of the World Cup. So what I've always been saying, that the team that we've used to qualify to the World Cup, in my view, is simply not good enough to go out there and compete. So if there is any Ghanaian somewhere who is doing so well and is up to the standard required to go and compete, my prayers has always been that the people at the Ghana Football Association, whoever is in charge, talk to these boys, get them to come and play for the Black Stars. Because I've always said that, God willing, I'll be in Qatar. I don't want to go and come back that early. I'm going solely because of the Black Stars. And I want to see the Black Stars get beyond the quarterfinal stage that we achieved in South Africa 2010. That team was a super team. We were just one kick away from getting to the semifinal. So every time we go to the Mondial, the World Cup, we should give ourselves every chance, every opportunity to try and better what we did in South Africa. Because the South Africa tournament in Brazil is the benchmark for the Black Stars. So when I heard the name of Inaki Williams in particular, I said, oh yeah, it's more like it.
You mean, oh yeah?
Oh yeah? No, oh yeah, this is more like it. This is the sort of player I have been hoping for to lead our attack. Because look, he's so versatile. He's good with his back to goal. He's got pace. He's got power. He's got good control. He's the type of player that players can play off. You understand? So if he doesn't, his statistics doesn't speak well of somebody who scores 20 plus goals every season. But if you look at his all-round performance at Atletico Bilbao, he's always had players who are around him flourishing because of how good a player he is. And if you look at this Black Stars, he also reminds everybody of that Samajan sort of attack, because he's a target man that we can go long to. Because in the Black Star setup as we speak today, we don't have a target man. We don't have a striker who will win the ball in the air. We don't have a striker who will liberate us in this. We are under serious incessant pressure from the opponent. We don't have a player that we could look
Coach, but we do have Benjamin Tete in the mix.
Who?
Benjamin Tete.
Man, I beg you, man. Don't go there. I beg you, man.
Oh, Coach. But Benjamin is like 6'4".
No more there. You see, we shouldn't go there. When I'm this happy and I'm this excited to talk about players who are up to the standard, don't be mentioning Benjamin Tete. No more there. You know my stand on the matter. Do you think, look, with the coming in of Inaki Williams, hopefully, I'm very confident that Nketia's will also be made available very soon. Not if these players are coming, do you expect to see Benjamin Tete at the World Cup? Do you? With Afenajane and Jordan Ayew and then Inaki Williams, Nketsia of Arsenal, do you expect Benjamin Tete to be at the World Cup? No, he can't be there because these guys are better than him. And his standard fall below the standard required. So, no more Benjamin Tete and Pasashi. No more, let's talk about Inaki Williams. Let's talk about Tariq Lamptey. Oh, my goodness. On that right flank, no, I look at all the Ayaba. proper fitness, proper belief in your ability to take on the opposing fullback and get in those courses where Naki Williams and Co.
Did you say Tariq Lamptey will be Suhum Sahum on the right flank?
Suhum Sahum, Ayaba, that ball is going to make our right flank absolutely blistering. He's going to get the team moving in the attacking sense. Now it's up to the coach. Look, and the icing on the cake, in my view, is Alice. He brings proper balance. I don't know how Otuado is going to play. The glimpses of Otuados and the likes of the technical, they've shown to me that these are technical men who could vary their tactics depending on the opposition. And I think that if we've got a proper left-footed centre back, a left-footed centre back who is bossing it in no mean a league, and the English Premiership, he's a massive, massive plus to the team. It's up to the technical team to see whether we'll go a back three or we're back four. That they will decide depending on the opposition. I believe that I was listening to Koranteng earlier on when I was called and put on the line. He spoke very well about the partnership of the team. As it stands, nobody questions the partnership of Jiku and Daniel Amate. But wait until you see the partnership of Salisu with any of these guys. Maybe after that, we'll be looking at, okay, then we can play something good over here. Then let's try the three of them at a go. With, I believe, Amate should be the one in the middle, and then Jiku on the right, and then Salisu on the left, if we have to go a back three. And let's see how we will transit from defense into midfield into attack. Can you imagine where we've got Tariq Lamptey as a wing back, and then maybe Gideon Mensah as a left wing back, and these guys, and we've packed the midfield with solid, rugged, ball-playing midfielders who supply the ball to Naki Williams and Co. No more. What you need, Pato? Bring in the Portuguese, bring in the Uruguay. We should be very, very ready. We'll be ready without come the World Cup. I'm happy. And my only problem now is that because CAF has shifted the AFCON, maybe we may not get a chance to play competitive game leading to the World Cup. But I'm sure that there will be room for getting countries. The FA will have to set up. I'm very confident we'll get us proper international friendly games to test the battle readiness of our team before we storm Qatar. And look, the other players, all the others. I heard you mention a very tall centre back.
Yeah.
I have not seen him play before. I have not actually watched it. But I'm now going to follow. We are all going to follow these boys. A team capable of going past every expectation is a team full of competitive players. In every position, there must be competition. Once there is competition, you get a chance to play for the team. You know, the one sitting on the bench there is equally good, if not better. So if you don't take your opportunity, come on, sit down. The next person join the train, and then on we go. Look, we need to try and replicate what we did in 2010, where Milovan Raiva at the time could look in the face of Sule Ali Muntari after winning the Champions League with Inter Milan and winning the Italian Scudetto with Inter Milan. Next day, he could look at Muntari and say, look, they just start ahead of you. But when Muntari was given the opportunity to start his first game in the World Cup of 2010 against Uruguay, we all saw what he did. That is the competitive. That is what the Black Stars means to some of us. That is what the Black Stars stands for. And for me, we are on track. I can only congratulate Ketukeku and his people for doing, and I know the amount of effort that has gone into this thing. He's been so tireless. So, look, they've done extremely very, very well. You know me, when they do well, I will say. If they don't do well, so I will say. So, look, they're too charming. I'm so happy with them, and I hope that this will be the catalyst for good things to come. I'm not saying that once these guys don't know, we now need to come together as a unit and try to gel as a team.
Yeah.
It's not up to the technical team to put measures in place, get the team to believe in their way of playing football, and get everybody on board. No player, not even the captain of the team, should be given any preference over anybody. Come and compete. The likes of, look, in 2010, if Sule could complete, if Asamoah, whoever comes out of the tunnel that day on the 24th of November against Portugal should be the one on form, be the one ready, to be the one prepared by the coaches to start the game. And God willing, we'll be in Qatar to support our one and only Black Stars, my brother.
Just before we let you go, because we hear that nice things are waiting for you in Kumasi, but just before we let you go, Cristiano Ronaldo says that preseason is not something he wants to attend because he has personal issues. We here in Adabraka have interpreted it in our own manner. What do you make of Ronaldo's new stance? I mean, just snap thoughts on his stance and if he will leave the club possibly. What do you make of it before you go?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, it's a bit disappointing because Ronaldo knew Man United will not play in the Champions League. He knew the team is what it is. And he granted those interviews, I think somewhere at the end of the season in May or in June, that I love this club, I'm going to stay, I'm going to be part of the plans of the coach. And when Ten Hag even came, his first interview when he was asked about Ronaldo, he said, look, I will not talk about that man until I speak with him first. That tells you of the respect the manager gave to him. He's spoken to the manager. The manager has laid down his plans for him. All of a sudden, judgment that goes about, don't call me the player to every team. No more Ronaldo, what are Europa, what are Champions League. Meaning
that is exactly what is happening.
That's exactly what is happening. So now, judgment that has come back to him and said, look, these people, I can get you a team in the Champions League, bro. Like you rightly said when I was watching earlier on TV, that he's played 19 years as a Champions League player. Would he want to go? But some other people will say that, look, it is to put an icing on the cake in terms of trophies. You've won the Champions League, you've won the Euros with your country, the Nation League, you've won. Maybe add the Europa Cup to it. At age 37, 38 years, what is there to prove?
Messi is still playing in the Champions League. That alone is a worry for him.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. He's older than Messi, I think, by two years. If Messi can take good care of himself, he will play 2 years after Ronaldo has retired. Look at the stature of Messi. People of that stature is most likely last a bit long in the game, provided they can take good care of themselves. So this is not the time to compare yourself to Messi. The two gentlemen, we've never seen anything of the sort in world football in this modern era. The two of them clearly epitomizes what proper technique and professionalism and is all about in football. So if you are 38 years and you are still thinking about Leo Messi, who is playing his football elsewhere, then look, I'll look at you again and say, come on, man, what is wrong? That is not to say that at 37, 38, you should not be ambitious. You should still have that ambition. But if you are a legend of Manchester United and this team is going through some form of transition, what a way to cement your legacy, to be part of the transformation of the team. But for me, look, I have said it. This is Manchester United don't need this sort of attitude at this moment. If I'm the one in charge, if I'm Ten Hag in charge, in fact, there's another school of thought who says that he may not survive the Ten Hag way of playing football at his age. So maybe there's a nice way of trying to move away earlier before he's exposed. Because look, Ten Hag's team is on record to have covered the most distance, to have played the most intense, high-pressing game than even the Jurgen Klopp and the Pep Guardiola's team that we've all come to accustom ourselves with our pressing game. And Hag's team, his Ajax team, last season, covered the most distance in Europe and in the world, to be very, very specific. So for me, look, if I am part of the decision makers at United, he goes. I sell him quick. I put him on the market. Maybe we don't need this from the most decorated player in the history of our team. We don't need that at this moment. So look, I hear he's flirting with Chelsea. No more. Look, if I'm the one in charge, and I'm happy at the stand that has taken, he said he will not allow the Ronaldo issue to define the work that he's building at Manchester United. If he wants to go, You have a chat with him, whether he likes it. I can clearly say on authority that Ronaldo is rather now avoiding Ten Hag because he should come. I mean, he's earned the right to speak his mind. He's earned the right to face anybody in football. Be a man, show up at Carrington, go and tell them in their faces that, look, I don't think I want to be here. So, yes, then you go. But if you are playing family reason, and you are there and your agent is flirting with Chelsea and trying to present you to don't call me or Ronaldo has been don't coming. He's been don't coming.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
That should even tell you that, come on, things are not the way it used to be. So I wish he would stay, but like I'm saying, he's not bigger than United. And no United supporter should be pleased that he wants to leave.
Well said.
We want him to stay. We want him to stay. But look, there's the issue of the 25% pay cut. This has been there since time immemorial. Go in Manchester, you play for United, if you fail to qualify for the Champions League, 25% pay cut for every player. That is the punishment they get. And that is United. Nobody pays more money than we do. So we have to take the stand ground that, look, if you don't meet up to our standard, you pay the price. Who is going to give him £500,000 a week currently in world football? No team in the world, absolutely no team will pay him that money. Maybe he wants to go and play in the Champions League. So they should facilitate his movement and let him go. And we'll bless him. He's always welcome back to Old Trafford. He's a legend of the club. He's always welcome back.
Well
so
said.
That is my
Well
stand
said.
on the matter.
Well said. Numo, Olebedo Fiole, thank you very much for joining us.
Coach in Shibo ye sports panorama. Mba ake ojo fikete kumasi. Next week, no baby here. Next week,
Definitely.
no
Prepare some 200 pounds.
okay, next week, no baby here.
Mamba, no, prepare more pounds. I have to go through Mamba.
Coach Christopher Namely there. Let me get Rahman Osman's thoughts. So we've spoken about Patrick Firefer, Salisu. Let's talk about Edin Nketsia and Callum Hudson-Odoi. What do you know so far about Edin Nketsia, for example? Let's start off with Edin Nketsia. So he didn't appear in this list, and a lot of people have started speculating that obviously means that he has either not made a decision yet, or he has decided that he will stick with what is more natural in his corner now, which is England. What have you picked up so far from that situation?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on Sports Panorama again. It feels so really surreal to be here.
Oh, Charlie.
And listening to Coach go on with so much fire, even as a
Nothing has changed.
Even as a false nine. Yeah, but on Eddie, it's a big opportunity that I know very well that his family is thinking about it, a chance to play at the World Cup. As things stands, he's not even in the thinking of Gareth Southgate. And his career has stagnated, I should say. I mean, he scored more goals for England and under 21 than any other player, even more than Alan Shearer. So he's highly rated when it comes to the youth teams under 17, under 20, under 21. Came through the ranks of Arsenal. At the time, everybody thought he was going to go to Crystal Palace. He gets a really good move, and Mikel Arteta has been very supportive of him. And for the first time in his career, he scored double digits for Arsenal last season. Yeah. What that meant was that he's earned that contract and earned a very iconic jersey in number 14. Now, I know Ghana is speaking to him. I know for sure, and I know I'm quite close to his dad, so I know very well that these decisions are massive for them. They projected that Eddie would be leading the Arsenal line by this age because he was captain of England under 21, and that team had the likes of Declan Rice, who are now established, Mason Mount, Reece James, and all those guys who are now regulars, and Phil Foden and all those guys. And the only reason why they think he hasn't progressed so much is because they feel like he hasn't played enough game time, and that's why they wanted him to go to Palace. Then Arsenal offered more money and an iconic jersey number, and then they jumped at that chance and then Arsenal have gone on and signed Gabriel Jesus. So it comes back to me to say, well, he's going to earn more money, but he's not necessarily going to make a lot of game time in there.
Yeah.
So in the end, I feel like he will take the bone being thrown at him from Ghana to play. I feel this week because England have a lot of
You think
strike.
it gives him some legitimacy if we do call him up?
Yes, it does. And it connects him with his roots. It's a massive opportunity also for Ghana because then we have two players who play at Arsenal, Thomas and then him, Eddie. That's massive. Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Their view in their numbers, their commercial value. And to have two Ghanaians playing in there, it's such a really grand event. But I'm just being very careful because he's proven he can score goals in the Premier League. I don't know if he's got what it takes at this moment to score goals at the World Cup or play consistently. And this has always been my point about the way we caught these players. Because on form, I think that he and Jordan will push each other at this minute. Because Jordan is playing consistently at Palace. And Eddie is getting games every now and then. But if you bring in Eddie and you've courted him for 5 years, you're literally giving him the starting slot. And when coach was speaking, he made a fantastic point about the need for competition and building a team that pushes everyone. But in there also, there's that hint of culture that could disrupt the core of the team. Because Eddie's background is total English, born and bred in North London, and he's lived his life in ways that are structured in the English way. And if he has to lead our line, there are certain things he has to understand. And you can't hide from that. Most managers will tell you that it's okay to have good players and technical players who are good, but it's always better to have good people, because when you have good people who are good players, even when they're not playing, they're contributing to the team. And our national team has proven down the years that when these foreign players come and they don't make the grade, it's a big problem. I can give you a classical example was when we went to the World Cup in 2014. We had the issue of Fentuo Tahiru and Adam Larsen Karase. It was so hard because it affected the psychology of the team. Then there was also the issue of Kevin Prince-Boateng, who also we brought in. And even though he was massive for us at the World Cup in 2010, there were issues in 2014 that we could have all avoided. The same can be said of Inaki. So the way we go about these call-ups, on the face of it, on footballing terms, there's no doubt that it's a massive plus for the FA president and his team. They just have to be very careful not to turn that courtship into a public wooing of a woman who then comes into the team. It just comes into the team and expects to be given a jersey or an easy ride, because stuff like that tend to break the bond. And there are several teams that have gone to the World Cup and they are not necessarily the best crop of players, but they are the best crop of team to win the World Cup. In 2010, when France went to the World Cup, they had the likes of Evra and Nelka, but confusion meant that they were booted out of the World Cup at the early stage. And the same France that won the World Cup just a few years ago, they tell you the core of that was not because Paul Pogba had a new hairstyle. It was because Pogba was playing with an N'Golo who would listen to him, and that bond that they had. Olivier Giroud, who wasn't the most clinical of finisher, like it was like Benjamin Nketsia, but he suited and will listen to what
had to go there.
No, not necessarily, but I'm just making a point, and that's what I'm saying, that sometimes you don't need every player to be at A+. You need some to be at A+, you need some to be
just
at
need
B-.
a good mix of
so
everything.
then they listen to you and they play for the betterment of the team, and they're on the same wavelength with the food they eat, where they stay, how they speak, and the football language they have. Those are the things that define a quality team. So in as much as the quality of the pitch and the quality of the technique the players have to go into a tournament. In 2010, we had that. You'll speak to Stephen Appiah and he'll tell you. In 2006, when we went to the World Cup, we had a good quality or good group of players. But what made them outstanding was the values of the Ghanaian. They understood what it meant to be Ghanaian. We have a short period. We need to integrate all these players to understand what it means like to play for Ghana. That, if they have that, then we are making progress, because you can have 11 of the best technically astute footballers on the page, and they don't understand the core duty of what it means to be a black star player. This is my genuine concern as we progress with this, and you would see them, it will go. I'm happy. I mean, Tariq, I know Tariq quite really well. He's got a really solid background. His discipline, his ambition, and what he wants to achieve for himself is in line with here. He would have loved to, and I'm quite restricted to say certain things because they are based on conversations we've had. I know for sure that he grew up in England. His instincts are English. His friends are English. His colleagues are English. But he's put his career first, and that means he wants to have. He doesn't want to be called maybe once in England to have played one cup for England. He wants to have a solid international career that sees him compete in the national team, in the AFCON, and sees him compete at the World Cup. And I'm happy. He's coming in at a very young age, and that means you can get his best years because he's at Brighton. And what that means is that whenever, by the time he gets to the United or to the Chelsea's, when everybody's calling him, he's coming into our national team with his best years. The same can be said with Callum if he does make it. The same can be said with Eddie if he does make it. The same can be said of Inaki. These guys are all at the peak of their careers. They're not coming to us when they are on their last leg or their careers almost there. So the pecs are there, but we should be careful the message we send to them so that self-entitlement is ironed out.
Okay, so if I'm getting something clear, you think that Eddie Nketsia will eventually make the jump? How about Callum? You didn't touch too much on Callum.
I think Callum will make the jump. Callum will make it. And the thing with
his eligibility, I think, is in November.
Yes, and I genuinely think Callum wants to play to Ghana. He's made a lot of trips down here, and he's tested the waters. And Callum, again, is...
He feels the love.
He feels the love. But again, he's one player on recent, on current form. I'll take Kamal Dina ahead of him.
Yeah. I've always said that the wings or the wing position is one of those places where we really don't have a deficiency.
Yeah.
And so it's always going to be competitive on that end. The other thing for Kamal Din, though, is that unlike at his club side, he's also not performed well when he's played for Ghana. That's the truth. He's not left his mark on that position where we say he's owned it and so the door is closed for everybody else. And so while he's very much the top prospect, maybe in that position, I still think it's very much up in the air. Let me just come back to you in a bit. Let me go to the message box and then I'll come back to Susu for his thoughts as well. So this one here says, Sports Panorama, my favorite show, Lipu Mama wishes VVD #1 defender a happy birthday. As for Arsenal, I can see Jesus is in control. I see where that's coming. I think he scored today in the friendly against Nuremberg, right? Yeah. There's Lambert from Dodowa says, good evening, Ben and team. I'm happy with all the players coming except Inaki Williams. I think he's an opportunist because he started feeling Ghanaian just when we qualified for the World Cup. All Inaki wants to do is play in the World Cup. I wish we would monitor his attitude towards the Black Stars after 3 matches at the World Cup. Hey, who says you're going to play 3 matches?
This is a bit unfair because I've read profiles about him. Though he grew up in Spain, there's a very big Ghanaian part of his... I mean, how many black people are in Basque Country? He definitely felt Ghanaian in a sense. Maybe not fully Ghanaian, but he had that Ghanaian roots in him. So I think it's a bit unfair to say that it's because of the World Cup.
Let me read more. This one says, hi guys, this is your seasonal texter in Quancheng Flowers from La. It says, is it me or everybody looks like every player is bound for a transfer is linked to Chelsea? Today it's Memphis, tomorrow it's some Portuguese young prospect at Sporting. It's up to Todd Bowley and his team to make the good deals like that of Sterling and Akis. I'm not happy about this Nathan Ake. We'll talk about this in a bit. This one here says, hi Ben, I think Man United are behaving like the African politician, always finding something to defend a situation. I want him at Chelsea to score 20 plus goals. Something from Comet Police Hospital. This one, something coming from Police Hospital. Okay. This one, Julius Togbenu from Dodowa says that thank God the Black Stars have signed the IMF player. Who's the IMF player, actually? Who is that? Maxwell from Cathedral says, I also welcome. Okay, I don't know what you're trying to say. It says, I'm already in my seat at 7 p.m. I want to hear all your voices this evening. This one here says, imagine Chelsea playing a 4-3-3, having these players. You see, Werner, Ronaldo, and Sterling, Pulisic, Havertz, and Mount.
Small 6-0 then go.
I'm not lying to you. That has no steal.
I had the same score line in my head.
That midfield or that team has no steal. I think they will collect a lot of goals. This one here says, I salute you guys. Caesar Sabala Ginger says, I can't wait for the Premier League to start in order to witness my club, Man City, demolish other clubs. Black Stars will reach the semis of the World Cup in Qatar. Okay, let me read more. This one here says that Salisu is a great addition to the team. Every centre back we have currently has their own unique qualities. I agree. Hazel from Dansoman with that one. Emmanuel from New Jerusalem, number 8, says Inaki is wasteful considering his conversion rate. That's my only worry, but he's an upgrade on all our forwards. Rahman the Wolfman Osman says super elated to hear you on the show. OG, listen here. I haven't texted into the show in more than 5 years, but I had to text you when I heard your name. Favorite panelist before Danny K took over. Shout outs to you guys. Nawid, listening from Paris in France. Oh, that's a good one. Emmanuel Delano from Apenkwa says Salisu is good, but can't be an upgrade on our current centre backs. Ben, any transfer news from Chelsea? Best sports show in GH. Thanks. Nanedu from Dome says the best sports interactive show on radio in GH. Big ups to you guys out there. Ni Adote Mofat says that transfers are not about running helter-skelter like a headless chicken chasing every player on the market. The FA can bring all the other players that have the Black Stars as their plan B. At the end of the year, check who wins trophies. You will know your smoothness level. That's why I says whether Salisu is an upgrade on Jiku or not, none of them are stopping Cristiano Ronaldo. So we should take those who played the qualifiers to chop the money some. Ghanaians are waiting for them. Joshua from Cove Town with that message. Rasponi from Nungwa says Salisu is an upgrade on all our centre backs. Farouk Headliner from Lakeside says, I'm happy to know Todd Bowley plans on keeping Tuchel long term and giving him ingredients and time to he needs to build a team. No one wants to build a team, no one wants to play against. As for Lakaka dear, we are waiting for him at the bridge next season. Lukaku is out there acting like he isn't on loan. I'm so surprised. It's absolutely shocking to me. Dropping all kinds of subliminals.
He's sitting like he just broke up with his girlfriend.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Justin from, I believe that's Pennsylvania, USA, says, for me, Salisu is never an upgrade on Amate and Jiku. It is no doubt he's a great defender and will definitely beef up the squad. Playing for the national team is quite a different ball game, so let's be cautiously optimistic about his inclusion. Alex Dwayne says, we need all players available and that will help the team. Kudos to Kurt. Please tell Rahman at the wait for Dalston. I'm not sure what that is.
Dalston it's somewhere in northeast London. I think.
Oh,
yeah, Dalston.
Okay, so he's waiting for you there.
In Dalston.
I guess
because I go there to shop sometimes. I don't even know who that is.
Okay. This one here says Salisu is definitely an upgrade on all our centre backs. It's that pain of rejecting earlier call-ups that's making a lot of people now talk about him in a bad way. Welcome, Rahman Oko in Medina. People miss you on the show, you know. I'm sure you didn't think anybody remembered that you were on the show.
I'm telling you.
That's how crazy it is. Kwame from Santa Maria says the only part of the team I understand why people are upset would be the defense. Every area I don't want to hear Pim. We can't control the middle. We can't create. We can't score. Can't wait to see Inaki in action for us. And finally, this one says, this is from Richard from Tesh. He says, please tell coach this pressing game thing. We said the same thing about Rangnick and we didn't see anything. We should pray the man is able to buy the right personnel for his system. Somebody too says, if Ten Hag wants to coach Ajax again, he should just go back to the Eredivisie because that's what it looks like he's trying to do. Let me get Susu's thoughts on all that's been going on. Just tie it all together for us. All the Bundesliga kids, Salisu, Lamte coming in, put it all together for us.
I think, unfortunately, I'm going to pour sand in some Gary at this point. We have to be a bit measured. I know we're excited for some of these players, but I also talk about some of the deficiencies and other things. So a lot of these players are playing in Bundesliga too. And we've spoken about playing level and the leagues people are playing in and that kind of stuff. You know, we are beating Jojo Wallacott with the stick that he's playing in the third tier. We're on Lomote's case that he was playing in the French second tier. So, is it fair that we're excited?
B, what has changed all of a sudden?
You know, is it fair for us to be excited that we're getting players from Bundesliga too? Granted, these players are also very young. There's a lot of growing for them to do. So, you know, there's a lot to be excited about in that sense. But what's the guarantee they'll become good players in the future? You know, so I want us to be a bit measured in this. And even on the top flight players, the only one I can see that he feels a specific, well, let me put it this way. I think I have to be consistent as well, because I've said certain things and I have to stick by these principles. So I spoke about Darren Nunez's knee injuries. So I have to say the same about Stefan Ambrosius. He's also torn his ACL twice. He's not played since last April. So
Ambrosius, how old is he?
He's
23.
about 22.
And he's had 2 ACL injuries already?
Exactly. And well, like I said, when I said the point about Darren Nunez, that this is not a good sign, I have to say the same thing about Ambrosius. So he's not played since last April. We've decided we want him. He was pretty good when he was playing, granted, but this is something we have to also consider. And again, when I spoke about Gabriel Jesus, I mentioned XG and finishing. So I have to come back to Inaki Williams. I had a sheet here. There's an Inaki Williams conversion rate. Could you just read it for me? I have the other XG numbers.
So Inaki Williams of Athletic Club, 38 games, 8 goals, 5 assists, 7% conversion rate, XG of 14.2. 5th in the league.
Yes,
and
so
then
he had the 5th highest XG in the league.
Wow.
And scored only 8 goals.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he had a very bad finishing season. And
then he had 94 shots, which was 3rd in the league, finished also with 28 dribbles.
So it's not like he's not a player who's able to get into position and shoot and that kind of stuff, but the finishing leaves something to be desired. And
didn't he also start off as a winger earlier in his
Yes, he does play,
career?
He can play on the wing. And going back to Naki Williams, I went on FBref to look at some stats, and the closest he's come to matching his XG since, you know, they started collecting the stats is minus 0.1. So he's never even matched his XG or even been higher. So every season is like the
deficit,
XG. Yeah, there's a deficit. So it says something about his finish, and we should. But you see, the same thing I said about Jesus is the same thing I said about Inaki. He might not be able to finish, but his all-round play and the other things mean that the people who are here right now that we have, he's still better than them. So that's a positive. But if we're expecting him to come and be scoring goals,
become an Asamoah overnight,
it is not.
I think for Ghana, the danger of every striker who comes in is that everybody wants you to be baby jet.
Yeah, you have to. That's the standard.
But you see, if we are being, and that's one thing we don't talk about enough in Ghana. If we are being realistic, Asamoah is on God status when it comes to striking in this.
And we also have to remember.
There's literally nobody touching him at this point.
Remember before he reached that point, how we treated him when he was missing chances. Ghanaians are not.
Jan literally retired and came back multiple times.
We're not patient with strikers at all. And the truth is, finding strikers who are very efficient and have good all-round play and can also finish chances is very difficult. Let's not pretend. Even when I was complaining about Ronaldo this season, I complained about his all-round play for half the season before it started picking up in the second half of the season. This is one of the greatest players of all time, and we are complaining about his all-round play. So it's not as easy as it's easy to say, oh, he should do this, do that, and also finish. It's not easy. It's not easy. And the last one is on Salisu. We have to also be measured when we talk about high interceptions, high clearances, high tackles. That's usually when you're playing a bad team. You have higher numbers. And one thing that stood out to me is when it came to errors, he led the league as well. So, and he has quite a number of yellow cards.
I mean, individual errors,
and quite a number of yellow.
I think that would have been the last part of the season. I think he had a bad stretch to end the season.
But he still had the highest in the league.
Yeah,
you know. And another thing is his yellow cards. He gets quite a few. So and that's from being active. But you see, with experience, those things tend to go away because he's a very active defender. He's trying to get the ball. That's why the tackles and interceptions are high. But he also mistimes quite a few. So the yellow cards are also high. So there's a few deficiencies to his game. But like I said, we also saw Amate play even worse for a lot of the season, which is why a lot of people are like, oh, Salisu is better than Amate. But there's also that experience factor. And again, like Daniel said, the partnership with him and Jiku. If I was playing Football Manager, I'd play Jiku and Salisu because Football Manager, they'll get a partnership in 3 games. Yeah. But if in real life, it does not take...
Chemistry doesn't work that way.
And you go back to your club, you are playing different styles. Jiku is also now going to Hoffenheim. He too has an adjustment
Jiku's not going to Hoffenheim again. That Hoffenheim deal has fallen through because his brother, who is his agent, decided to ask for more commission at the last minute. We'll come to that in a bit. But just to run, that's nice. Rahman, let me just quickly hear from you on that debate, because you watched them personally. Amate, Salisu. What do you make of that debate?
Well, that's it's a good question and very difficult to answer, because I tend to not really, I tend to love how do you say this in English? But you need
the eye test.
Yeah, the eye test. You need to see them play. There was a period, I think a month or two, where Salis was really flying. And against Man City, he was so good. Interception. He wouldn't let Kevin De Bruyne have a sniff, and everybody thought he was going to be really, really up there. The potential is huge. There's no doubting. I mean, Tuchel, his sending off and all that. When Rooney started, he was a hothead and got sent off quite. And under the right manager, he became maybe the greatest English forward by Alan Shearer. So he's certainly one who I think will get a start when he comes in. But Amate, again, is a different player when he's playing for Leicester. I feel he's scared when he's playing for Leicester. And the thing is, I see that
you've been on the bench that long. You're always afraid that one mistake will take you back to the bench.
I mean, I spoke to the press officers Leicester, and they were surprised that he got the amount of games he got. I remember I was sitting in Stamford Bridge, and normally when the press officers come, we come and have, and we were saying that, he said to me, your man is playing well. And I was like, yeah. He said, yeah, we've had to use him more than we thought we would use him this season. They had a lot of injuries.
Fofana was
exactly.
Out for the Soyuncu was not.
They also sold Vestergaard. I think they didn't expect what happened, and they let Vestergaard go.
Exactly.
So then they had to use Amate.
They bought Vestergaard, and Vestergaard didn't work out. That's what actually happened.
Just to even corroborate this, right? I spoke with Yusuf Chipsa, who is Amate's agent, and I asked him on when he was not getting his opportunities on whether it made sense for his client to move on. And the agent said that, yes, I think my client should move on. If I'm him, I'm moving on. But he said Amate didn't want to move on because he thought that he had a fighting chance in the Leicester squad. But it's paid off. And it's very interesting the points you make about the eye test and it's been
because Southampton are a very strange club, aren't they? 1 minute they are really difficult to break down, and the next minute they concede 9. That's the kind of club they are. There's no middle ground. They're either very good or very bad. So in that, then if they concede 9, all of a sudden their goalkeeper is the worst in the league because in one game they ship 9. That's the thing with numbers. Just one tilt and then the pendulum goes that way. But they are all certainly just on the. If one is better than the other, it's not.
You don't think it's
not that
significant
at this minute. It's not a significant.
I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
the quality balance is very close.
Amate has played so much for the Black Stars. His experience, his understanding of the team. If we just throw Salisu in there, even if Salisu is better, let's even assume he's better. Is he so much better that it will make up for the lack of chemistry?
Exactly.
Can we really?
That's a good point.
And just to add on it, I think that the people who manage him, they've made his national football quite difficult than it should have been.
Yeah.
Because
now the expectations will be more.
The courtship dragged so long. Now people are waiting. Okay,
let's
see what you want to do.
We had to chase you for this long.
Exactly. And again, if you play with psychology, it could be one. Because there's so much expectation, then his game has to be really tough. So he comes in prepared. Or if he's the weak type, as we saw when he first moved to England. And Ralph said it. He said, listen, when they signed him, I think from Valladolid, no?
Valladolid.
They kept him away for so long.
Because he wasn't ready.
We kept asking where is he?
The season before the one just and he played like 8 games, 12 games.
Yeah.
He barely featured. And like this season, suddenly he's become like their lead centre back.
And the guys who cover Southampton tell me Ralph had to work a lot on him, especially He's an emotional player, and there are players like that. They need a lot of preparation. They need you to get into their head. And when you can do that, then you can see the play. There's definitely a world beater in there, like the Van Dijk type who can organize, who's physical, who's big, who's
he can pass as well.
He can pass, and he's a left footer. And remember, they are premium on that. So I'm happy he's in there. I just wish it didn't have to take years to get there.
That just heightens expectations for him. Let's get into the transfer mix because a lot has been happening on that front.
It's Don't Call Me time.
One place, maze for sale, one ton cheap. Don't call me, yo, don't call me. We dey loan this player $1,000. Don't call me, yo, don't call me. For the striker, we can consider. Don't call me, yo, don't call me. We know they see you use Team Naboka. Don't call me, yo.
So ghosts are Sansa Taurus. Now on time she goes a prince of ghosts. Now on one yard drinks a Teves. And then your coach one come at home. A don that was so.
Don't call me, yo, don't call me.
Let's go. It's Don't Call Me time.
Don't call me, yo, don't call me.
It's Don't Call Me time.
Don't call me, yo, don't call me.
Catch that.
Team Naboka. Don't call me, yo, don't call me.
Catch that. It's Don't Call Me time.
That's it.
Medase. And that's the Don't Call Me bell there. Let's get into it. Let me start off from the camp of Chelsea. Hold on. Okay, I think you didn't hear that. Let me start from camp of Chelsea. They are the ones who are worried about their team's inactivity on the transfer front. Charlie Todd Bowley was seen. He looked like he was wearing pajamas. Like he had just woken out of bed and was having some plenty fouls in his hand. Somebody says Todd Bowley was on his way to blackmail Laporta with all the evidence he could find to release De Jong. There are three players I want to talk about with Chelsea. First of all is the one I'm not happy about. I want Daniel to speak to that. Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake, who has been more friendly with the physios at Manchester City than with his teammates, all of a sudden is going for 40 million, I believe, again. And Chelsea, who once upon a time had like some of the most elite defenders, are now buying players I think are players Manchester City don't want anymore. What's going on, Daniel?
Look, Ben, first, before I go on the Aki issue, look, I wonder why Chelsea haven't gotten a sporting director as quick as possible. Because Todd Bowley, coming into this transfer window, we all knew Granovskaya was going to go. Czech also followed out. This is somebody who doesn't have experience in the football world or soccer.
Yep. And you know that sporting directors clout the clout of your sporting director matters on if a player wants to sign.
Are you talking about general manager Todd Bowley? He's going to get 2 second round.
Charlie, he looked like he had just woken up from bed.
Man, honestly, if you look at what Todd Bowley is doing, it's like he's just running after everybody who looks available. Yeah. Honestly, and it's starting.
They say Arsenal is buying Rafinha. We want to intercept.
He's going.
It's a very American way of doing transfers.
Seriously, it's getting embarrassing now because you go for Rafinha, he says he doesn't want you. The latest one is De Ligt, who has told his agent, Rafaela, that's Pogba's agent also, to only talk to Bayern Munich. They should stop. Chelsea and the coach should stop disturbing them. It's getting really? Seriously, and you see. It's becoming. Don't pick the calls. The guy likes worrying us. He's always calling. Todd Bowley is always calling, and it's getting embarrassing. And for me, it's just a matter. If things don't go well in this transfer window, I'll not be surprised if Thomas Tuchel leaves during the season because he's not getting top class players to fill in the gaps that they need. You look at Christensen.
They've had a lot of departures as well.
Rudiger has left.
Christensen is gone.
Christensen is gone. You can't depend on Thiago Silva for the whole season. You need somebody to come in. And this Ake thing looks like...
at least 3 centre-backs.
Ake is like for me, I think he's like a 6th, 7th choice. And they are going to him because, remember, he came from the Chelsea Academy.
Yep.
He's actually their player.
Does this mean they are giving up on Jules Koundé?
It looks like. Because it looks like the last time I heard Koundé was flirting with Barcelona.
I heard Koundé too has said that he wants Barca.
Exactly.
What's going on with these players?
You see,
There's a team that readily can pay for you and can bring you in as soon as possible.
But you know, there's something about playing for Barca, Madrid, Bayern. There's some certain clout.
The team that is trying to clear space to bring you in.
No, but you see, they have that clout, and Chelsea are getting there, but they are not there yet.
No. You see, I don't think it's that. I feel like, look, we've seen top class players come to Chelsea. We've seen Marina pick up a phone call and the deal is done. He's just not experienced in this world, and. No, seriously. And it looks like they are just tossing him left, right, center. Today he's in Barcelona. We don't even know what he went to do in Barcelona.
Rahman, quick thoughts on that one. We heard that Chelsea were on the verge of hiring, or they were looking to hire a sporting director and a CEO. What's up with that? Is that something they are looking to conclude before the window, or is that a slow progress type of thing for them?
Well, it's funny. Daniel says Todd doesn't know what he's doing, because I remember when Chelsea got banned because of Roman's involvement in Ukraine, the first game that Chelsea played was Chelsea-Newcastle, and I was covering that game, and I ran into Amanda as she was going for the game, and Amanda is the owner of Newcastle, And Chelsea have this song they always sing to whoever. At that time, they were European champions, so they sing, "We know who we are. We know we are champions of Europe. We know who we are." And then Newcastle, because Chelsea were banned, they couldn't sell tickets to away fans and so. And Newcastle have this history with Mike Ashley, who they never liked, who was their owner. And that time it was unclear who was going to be the owner of Chelsea. So Newcastle fans also, well, as Chelsea finished singing, "We know who we are, champions of Europe," Newcastle then started singing that he's coming for you, he's coming for you. Oh, Mike Ashley, he's coming for you. Because they had just gotten rid of Mike Ashley, which was banter. Then a few weeks after, Arsenal come to Stamford Bridge, and the first song they said, they start singing and they say that this place is quiet, just like the old days, there's nobody here. And only because Roman was gone. And they said that before Roman, there wasn't Chelsea, and Chelsea was very quiet and he couldn't get businesses done. With Todd, I mean, it was always going to be this way. The way Roman ran Chelsea, he ran it not as a business entity. He loved football. If you believe in what the narrative says, he said that he didn't care about the losses. He kept his own money in. He bought players and paid them crazy money. He would offer monies that even Real Madrid couldn't offer. This new owners, American owners, they need to balance the books. And that's why Todd is leading from the front. It's a new dimension. So you need to brace yourself for takeoff. They need to make sure that every sterling is accounted for. And this
will be very new for Chelsea fans.
It's going to be a really, really strange time. Things change. Maria's gone. Granovsky is gone. It's almost everybody who was part of that 20-year-old success has to go, and you can't blame them. If you put your money into something, you want to lay the foundation, and that's where Todd is coming in. It's a new area for him. He's not done it, so he needs time to get it across. One thing is certain. I think Tuchel believes in what they are doing. But the scary thing, if you know about football, is that most teams are now already banking in 2 weeks of preseason. And Chelsea are still chasing in first.
They don't have two signings
and they've lost who was the most important player for them in Antonio Rudiger. He was a fighter. He was everything they needed. And they need somebody in his caliber. And I don't even think that the players they are following can slot into that shoes of who Rudiger was. Because anytime Rudiger played, he was easily a reincarnation of Pepe. You remember the Portuguese?
Massive.
That's how
and
it was.
Apparently his presence in the dressing room was even bigger.
So, you could tell even from the way he spoke to his teammates. Listen, I've seen Rudiger, this English left back, Chilwell, misplace a pass and nearly piss on himself because of the way Rudiger looked at him. Because, the press box is just behind where the players are. So we literally see everything. And sometimes I just look at his body. The moment he steps on the pitch, even his teammates are like, the whole stadium go, roo, like that's like, roo.
That's a big player gone.
He was like Tuchel could get upset with Ziyech, could get upset with Mount, but I'd never seen Tuchel get upset with Rudiger, and they did everything humanly possible to keep him, but it was not to be done. So it will be interesting, and for Chelsea fans listening, most of the first few years will be very difficult under this new ownership, that's for sure, because something that
is a brace yourself type of message for you.
There will be turbulence. There will be.
Daniel, talk to me about Raheem Sterling. Let me go to Susu Graham for a couple more transfers. Raheem Sterling to Chelsea. It looks to me like a good deal. 45 million. It looks like by the end of this weekend that deal will be done and dusted. What do you make of that? Good deal for you?
I love that deal because that's an area of the pitch that Chelsea actually needs strengthening in. Ziyech didn't work out. We've seen the likes of Pulisic and Werner, who are very inconsistent out wide. So they need somebody who's coming in with pedigree. And say what you like about Raheem Sterling. But look, he's been one of the top performers in the Premier League in the last 5 years.
Top 3 or top 4 goal scorers under Pep. That's crazy.
And I think if you combine goals and assists, I think after Salah he comes next in the Premier League, or he'll be in the top 3 there. But
I think
he's been
knock
that
Raheem
consistent
Sterling because he's been around for a long time.
Yes.
People think he's old and withered.
What freaks me?
Underrated.
Yeah, what actually freaks me about Sterling's numbers is that he's pulling up all these big numbers despite having a very poor conversion rate. Yeah. So he's missing a lot of chances, but he's still having a lot of goals and assists to his name. And it just shows you what could have been if he was just
like more, even at his worst, he's on a certain level.
So look, Chelsea actually need that. He's
27.
He's 27. Look, he's
basically
young, he's
entering
quick.
his prime now.
Look, he's young, he's quick. He can do everything. He knows the league, and I think he'll slot straight into this Chelsea team. And I'm honestly looking forward to his partnership with Kai Havertz. With Kai Havertz.
You're not looking forward to his partnership with Ronaldo?
Let me put it out here. Where Ronaldo goes, I go. I don't care.
You are shameless.
Liverpool sign Ronaldo today.
Don't
I'm telling you the truth.
I will personally prevent you from doing that.
I became a Manchester United fan.
Let me put it on record.
I'll follow
on this
him
show.
everywhere. If today Ronaldo goes to the Chinese league, I'm going to buy whichever subscriber shows Chinese league.
But not Liverpool. As for Liverpool, I'll personally gatekeep Liverpool. I won't let you.
Man City, Chelsea. If Ronaldo comes to Chelsea, a quick blue. I'm buying a jersey.
You are shameless. Completely shameless. So Raheem Sterling, you don't commit that move.
I just want to say something small. I'm not saying that he's better than this player I'm about to mention, but if you look at their numbers from about 2017, 2016, and you compare their goals and assists, in less games, I believe Sterling has more goals and assists than Sadio Mane. And look at how we talk about Sadio Mane. You can go on the Premier League
all
sites.
Facts, numbers don't lie.
You can go on the Premier League sites. There's a player comparison tool and do it. I think from 2016 or 2017. So maybe the last 5 years, so 2017, and compare it. In about less games, he has more goals and assists combined. So he plays at a very high level, but there's this perception of him because of
sometimes when you play in a team like Manchester City, it happens.
And the chances he misses. There's this perception that he's wasteful, he's not good, but he's very productive.
Did you see his miss against Burnley?
The worst I've ever seen in my life.
The one I remember is some Manchester derby. The one that Man U came back and won 3-2, I believe. Where the first half, City were all over them, and Sterling had about 3 or 4 good chances, where he could have buried the game, and he spoiled them, and they lost the game. That's one of the things that stick in my mind. Like, he has those misses, and that's what warps people's perceptions, because it's about moments. Your consistency scoring, because he shoots from.
And even in the Champions League, when they were losing to Leon. Chelsea, when they were losing to Real Madrid, he missed some big chances.
He misses chances, but even if you look at it on the balance, he's not that bad a finisher on balance when you look at the numbers, but those things stick in the mind.
Rahman is a Man City fan.
I haven't forgotten. I don't think I have forgotten. Let me just stay on the beat with you on Chelsea and their supposed interception of De Jong, because Romano's been tweeting a bit about this. He says that Todd Boehly is ready to go all in, and Todd Boehly is in Barcelona as we speak. It looks like United have been dragging their feet on De Jong because of what the contract looks like, the monies they have to pay, compensation, whatnot. You think De Jong can possibly, or Chelsea can close this out and take him to the bridge?
Oh, I mean, they do have the financial resources to do it, no doubt. But I'm just wondering what he's coming to do in their midfield, because the way I look at the midfield, the way he plays, he can't replace Jorginho. It means he's going to replace Kovacic. Or maybe they are going to switch their midfield up to 3 in the midfield, whatever the case is. Yeah. Considering the system we've seen them use mostly, the 3-4-3, let's call it a 3-4-3, that kind of system, I don't see a place for him. Maybe they want to use him as a centre-back, which I think he can do to a certain extent, but you wouldn't want to rely on him there for the whole season. So I'm wondering what it is. And that goes back to what Daniel was saying about Todd Boehly's kind of scattergun approach. He sees a player as kind of available. It's almost like he wants to get him. And because if you look at Chelsea, what you need right now are centre-backs and forwards. The midfield is the last thing you need to do, because you play 2 midfielders most of the time. And you have Jorginho and Kovacic. You have N'Golo Kante. Then you can put Loftus-Cheek once in a while, for those games.
For vibes.
Yeah. So you have 3 solid...
You really need to buy a whole defense. That's the honest truth.
You have 3 solid midfielders for 2 positions. If anything, maybe buy one more to come in as a backup, but you don't go and spend 80 or 60 million
for a player who you're not clear about.
Might not even start. So it just doesn't make... And I've said it before in terms of transfers. Go where there's a hole. Right now, there's a big hole in your defense with Rudiger going. which is why the delete transfer made a lot of sense on paper.
Delete say he doesn't want
Delete
Chelsea.
say he doesn't want to go. Find someone else. Maybe
Delete himself. He's not played any proper football since he went to Juventus. You should let us think. We've been watching him. He's really been crap since he went to Juventus.
Mr. Humble. Mr. Humble. Mr. Humble.
Daniel, let's talk about Alexander Jiku before we go, because that was a shocker for me. 6 million was heading to Hoffenheim. It looked like he had done his medical.
Yeah.
He was literally done. His brother, who is his agent, apparently asked for a raise in commission at the dead. And then Hoffenheim said, you know what? We don't do business like this.
So we are not doing it again.
End of the transfer. Just walk us through this.
It reminds me of last season, the similar thing that happened to Abdul Fattah Isahaku, where he was on his way to Bayer Leverkusen. And then, funny enough, one of the Leverkusen officials overheard a conversation his agent was having whilst he was doing a live. And his agent was sort of like still going around and speaking to clubs. Yes, pitching him to other clubs. And then they said, no, they are cancelling the deal. It's very interesting. But when you look at what has happened, personally, I think it's a blessing in disguise, honestly.
Talk to me about that.
Look, Strasbourg finished 6th in the French league last season. I think they'll go in the Conference League.
Yeah, they'll be playing in Europe.
They'll be playing in Europe next season, which is a plus. I feel he's at a very critical stage in his career, and he can get a bigger club to move to, especially after the World Cup. I think he should wait, and it is good. He should wait. The fact is, Strasbourg are willing to sell. Why? Because he has a year left on his contract. So I feel it's a blessing, guys. What you do, just see out this season. Go to the World Cup. You do well at the World Cup. By January, you can sign for free, you can start talking to.
And the way he is, he will definitely get suited.
You definitely get suited. And you see, he was going for £6 million. In January, if somebody brings 3 million, 2 million, Strasbourg will surely sell. If they don't, you can wait to the summer and properly sit down and negotiate with clubs who are winning.
Get a bigger pay packet.
You by all means get a club that is.
There was a part of me that was actually thinking that his brother might have done this on purpose. Maybe they didn't want to go to Hoffenheim, and maybe Strasbourg had accepted a fee and they couldn't do anything about it. So we'll scupper the deal ourselves, and then
maybe he had second thoughts. I don't know if Hoffenheim is the level of club.
They're falling off.
Yeah,
I remember, like I said, I remember when they came into the Bundesliga, they spent more money than everybody else in the league put together.
They're the only team in Germany with a billionaire owner, because he is a fan. But he's the kind of the
Kasim Nuhu Adams is still at Hoffenheim. These days he's buried deep on the bench. Let me take Rahman's final thoughts for go. Rahman, what transfer are you intrigued by? What potential deal are you keeping your eyes on? You think will probably happen this summer? Which one intrigues you the most?
I think the transfer I really have loved so far though is Yves Bissouma to Tottenham. That's a big one. I've seen Yves play. I think he's going to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Give him 2 years, he will be there. Ghanaian players these days, it's hard to even see a Ghanaian player making big moves. But
OG Nice have inquired.
Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah, that's the thing with Kudus. Also, it's special when he plays for the national team. He hasn't really taken it to that level in Ajax. But he's one that we're tipping for big moves. And the one that also excites me was Sadio. And Sadio to Bayern Munich. It's such a big deal and big move. And I know that in England it was underplayed, that it wasn't really a very big, but it's without knowing what is still to come, that those moves have been very exciting to see so far.
Can I say something quick?
Quick one.
If we've been here for an hour and 30 minutes, have you noticed that when I'm giving my submissions, I say Sterling, I say Mane, I say Salah. When Susu is talking, he refers to the footballers by their last names. When you are international and you're on first name basis, you'll be calling them
Sadio.
Callum.
Is it Sadio?
Sadio. Mo. Chale. International.
Okay, so you literally call them on.
You call him Mo as well? Mo Salah.
Yeah, Mo.
Only because it says Thomas. Mo.
He has their numbers in his phone. You can call
international.
them right
You mean how do you call Son?
Yeah, Son.
Because I know you and him are pretty.
Yeah, Sonny.
Cool.
Sonny.
Chale, you do everything.
Name or enter. Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much. Any shout-outs? Any last-minute shout-outs before you go?
Give a shout-out to our very own Knee Prime.
Oh,
David Knee Latte Laddie.
You mean Knee Prime?
Knee Prime. It's his birthday today. I call him FLT, Flight Lieutenant.
Hard guy.
It's
Daniel.
his birthday today.
It's his birthday today.
We know how he does his things. Well,
Charlie. Shout out to the guy who couldn't make it on the show today. Tahiru Fentuo.
Oh, Charlie.
I know what you are going to do. Oh, Charlie.
Big ups to everybody who listens to Sports Panorama. Thank you to Rahman Osman for dropping by. Hopefully